Good afternoon and good morning to everybody. Welcome to the It's Learning and Mobile Equals Love presentation. My name is Steven Threadgold and I'm Head of Product Management at It's Learning, and I'm really pleased to be joined today by Freudis, who is one of our product owners, and she has been working really hard to make real all of the fantastic improvements that you're going to see in our new app. And the most fundamental change we've made, I think, is the app not just works on sort of phone-sized devices, it now works really well on tablet. It also allows you to jump right down into It's Learning, into the courses, and to see things like, bulletins, news inside the course, together with things like resources and so on. So we're really happy to be able to show this to you and to, have you encouraged to get as many of your users to download the app. We've also made it a lot easier to log on to the app, and Freudis is going to run through that, so you're going to see loads of really great changes. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with the app now, and the version that was released just a couple of weeks ago to the Play Store and to the iTunes Store. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what's going to be there ready for back to school, so when all of the students and teachers and so on get back to school after their summer break, there'll be a whole suite of new changes which really make the app fantastic. And then we're going to give you just a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're working on, again targeting back to school, which is going to be the parent app, which is going to be a companion app for the It's Learning app, which we're really going to sort of give parents a way to see everything that's going on with all their kids. So welcome, and this is what we're going to cover today. So what we've tried to do with our new app is to listen to the feedback that people have given us, because a lot of people are saying it's great to get news and bulletins, be able to see those pop into my phone and know it's time to go and check my assignments and so on. But we really want to be able to do that from the app itself. It's great to have something that works as a companion to the web, but we need something that allows us, to actually jump into the courses and be able to see what's going on and look at my plans in a seamless way. So we've made sure with the new app we have a much better experience. So if you're just an app user, if your kids are just using apps, if you've got, for instance, bring your own device or one-to-one, it's a lot easier to use most of the It's Learning functionality straight from the app without ever needing to go into the desktop version. It's also a lot easier to follow up on work, it's a lot easier to see what's going on, and we're giving, a much more holistic view all through the app. And then we're also trying to make sure that it's easier to access the courses and course materials, and because we have the new tablet view as well, it's a lot easier to work within the app. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Freudis, and Freudis is going to give us a run through of what's in the app. And of course, while we're doing this, please feel free to ask questions. Those of you who are using GoToMeeting for the first time, there's a little panel which is called questions in the GoToMeeting control box. You click on that, type in your question, and what we'll do is we'll try and answer those as we go through, and any that we can't answer we'll then sort of put onto our website and sort of follow up on those. So please ask questions as you go. Welcome to the webinar, and now I'm going to hand over to Freudis.
Thank you, Stephen. I'll just make myself presenter here. Right, you should now be able to see my little iPod screen, since the iPad absolutely refused to connect to my computer. So this is plan B. Right. So welcome everyone. I'm going to show you how the main It's Learning app now looks. And when you start that for the first time, what you'll see is the login screen. And if you have used our old app or a previous version, you will know that you could only search for your site. And one of the things that we improved this year was to be able to search also for your school. Now this does depend on a site setting, but it should be available for a lot of you. So let me just demonstrate that by searching for the local schools here in Bergen. And you will see that I can get the top one, Bergen Kommune, which is the local site here for the community. But scrolling down, I also have the schools with Bergen in their school name. So I can find all of those as well. And you can see the site name as well, to make sure that you pick the right one if there are several schools with the same name. Now I'm going to log on to my demo site instead. And going here you can see that we have the It's Learning login, but we also have access to any external login. So for those of you using some kind of third-party or SSO login for It's Learning, that's available for the external one. And if that's usually the default displayed on your web's login page, that will also be the default in the mobile app. I'm logging on as a student today. Oh, much better if I spell it right. And going into there, I'm welcomed by these few onboarding screens. I can turn on the notifications, and I can choose to connect this to the phone calendar or device calendar. I'm not doing that right now. That just means that's the same thing you can do if you connect or add the RSS feed from the calendar in web to your calendar. The front page here is the home, and that's the equivalent of the main part of the homes page in web as well. So this gives you a stream with bulletins from all your favorite courses and also updates for any changed or added resources in those courses. And you'll see this little hamburger menu in the upper left corner. If I click that, there's access to a bit more things like editing my profile picture. I can also add the calendar from in here if I didn't do that during the onboarding, sign out, and so on. And I can also find the personal notifications, the bell icon that you're familiar with from the web application, which gives me my notifications. You can see some icons here on the front page. The attachment icon, the little document one, that shows you how many resources are connected to that update or bulletin. And scrolling down, you can see all the updates from my courses. So going into one of the bulletins, you'll see that the detail view here shows me the entire text of the bulletin because we can't display all that on the front because it's a small screen. I have links to all the resources that my teacher connected to this bulletin. And I have comments from my classmates and my teacher here. And I also have the ability to write a comment myself. And my own comments, I can delete those or I can edit them just like I can in web. Same thing for the grouped notifications. You might remember that some time ago we changed it so that when there are several changes at once in a course, we group them instead of sending them one by one. So the group notifications are exactly the same thing. We display a list of all the elements that the teacher has added. And clicking on any one of those will open it. I'll demonstrate that later on. And you can also see that I can now rotate this device and get the landscape mode. And the same thing, of course, with tablets. So the only difference you can see from this small screen, which is the iPod, and a bigger screen like a tablet, iPad, is that we moved, for the iOS version, we moved what we now have in the hamburger menu in the upper left corner. We put that in the main menu as well, because on a tablet, obviously, we have room for more icons. So we cleaned it up a bit more there. Right, I'm going to skip courses for now. I'll just continue on what was previously our main menu. My task list as a student will show me all my tasks sorted by deadline. I can see what's overdue, what I have due this week, next week, and then the no deadline ones. If I had more with deadline, they would of course be here as well for future dates. And going into, for example, this test, it will be opened and you will find the display that you're used to from web. So all the familiar parts will be there. And I can also complete this from my device without problems. Again, this iPod really has a very small screen. This looks amazing on an iPad, which unfortunately didn't work today. Just the connection here. So completing this and so on. Let me just go to next. I've completed my test now, and I'll have the results here, just like in web, if I go back. And in the same way I can complete my assignments, I'm also able to upload files, which I won't do from this device because it's a test device, so there's just lots of weird things on it. But that should be available for you. You can write your assignment answers, you can upload your files if they're available. And you'll also have access to your cloud services from here. Just wanted to show you that file upload. Sorry. As you can see here, the available cloud services are also available for me from the device. So that's my task list. I also find my calendar with all the upcoming events. And clicking on one, I'll have a detailed view where if there's a description, I'll see the full description. And I can also open the day view, which opens the full web calendar focused on the relevant day. So I can see all the events for that day. Right, then I'll go back to courses, which I skipped previously. That's the second item here. So what I find here is a list of my favorite courses. That's the same list you can find in the drop-down in web. So if you're missing any of your important courses here, you need to add them to your favorites by adding a star to them. Again, that's just like the drop-down in web. The little red number will tell me the number of updates or bulletins posted since the last time I visited the course. That's the same as the badge you can find in web as well. And visiting this will reset the news part here, will reset the counter and the last visit. And that will also be posted in web, meaning the teacher can see the updated last visit timestamp. So going into news here, I will have again the bulletins and the updates from that course. It's just like the home page here in the app, but it's filtered on the course. So I'll find only the elements relevant for this course. I can find tasks, again, exactly the same as the tasks on the main menu, but filtered on this course. So I can go into to find my course tasks here. Events, same as calendar. I can also open the planner, which opens the complete planner here. And I'll be able to select any of the topics or terms or weeks that I want. But just like in web, I can open my plans and I can see all the details on them. One of the things we heard people ask for was they wanted their courses, but when we asked them why, often they would say, well, I need to access my lecture notes, or I need to access the files that my teacher shared. So we added resources here, which will give you a native navigation into the course resources. You can find all the folders here with all the content. And again, clicking on any of these elements will open that for you. So you can see all the content, you can complete your tests, hand in your assignments and so on. All file types are, of course, also supported, but again, just like any other app, you will need to have an app that can actually read them. So if there's a Word document, you need an app that can actually open a Word document and so on. The next section is the status and follow-up, which for the student gives me the assessment record for the course. It gives me the learning objectives progress report. I can go into that and see how I'm doing in all my learning objectives. and navigate that just like I do on that. And as you can see, I haven't been assessed for a lot of things in this course. But going into drilling down in here, and I'm going to this particular one, I can see what's aligned to this learning objectives in my course. And lastly, there's a participant list, which we have for all courses. If I was a teacher, I would also see the last visit timestamp here, so I could check when my student last logged on to see the bulletins in my course. Last thing I wanted to show you was the messages, which is again all my conversations that I have. I can send messages, I can edit them. You can see this gray one here for chemistry, that's an unread one that stands out from the others. You'll also see that if I delete the message, that tells me it's been removed, again same as web. Any images are displayed, and also attachments. You can send attachments and you can open them from here. Again, of course, depending on the fact that you have an app that can actually read all documents shared. I can start a new conversation if I want to. Right. I think that was actually it. That was a bit quicker than I thought. Will you let me know if I forget something, Steven?
No, that's great. I mean, I think a lot of the features that we've seen here are showing how you can now jump straight from the app into itslearning. We've had a lot of questions about, using this on a small device. One of the good things about showing it on a small device, and this is a sort of an iPhone-sized device, is you can see that it's really easy to access everything transparently. We encourage everybody to download the app, and if you run it on a tablet-sized device, then things like the planner and some of the very complex pages, they are rendering really well. It's really easy to use them. It's really easy to scroll up and around them. But we wanted to show that all of this can also be done on these really small devices as well. So, that's really important. So, thank you for that, Freudis. What I'll do now is just talk a little bit about the other things that are coming, a little bit about Parent App, and then we'll also try and answer some of the questions that we've got. We've been frantically typing away as we go. So those of you that have got questions and want to see what we've been answering, you can see them in the question tab, and then we'll just run through a few of those at the end and make sure we've answered as many as we can, because this is a great opportunity for us to get feedback from what you're seeing, and also to give you direct feedback in a really productive way. So what I'll do is I'll just jump back in and start my presentation again, and then we shall continue. Okay, so what Freudis has been showing you is everything that's in the app now, and a few things also that we've got coming. So we're making regular releases to both of the app stores on Android and iOS. One of the questions we were asked is what version were we looking at? So we're looking at the latest version that's in the iOS store, but Android is there, and Android has virtually all the functionality that the iOS device has. We're not trying to favor one over the other at all. We're trying to have this on as many devices as possible. There are some subtle differences between the iOS version and the Android version, and what we're trying to do is leverage some of the key ways that both phones and both sort of, systems work slightly differently in terms of the way they handle, moving from page to page and going back and so on. So the only real differences you'll see are based on the common practice on each device. The functionality, what you can do on each device is we're trying to keep that as identical as possible. So it doesn't matter if your kids are using iOS or they're using Android, the experience is more or less the same. But what we do is work closely with the systems that are built into those devices to leverage those. So we've seen a lot of stuff that's going on at the moment and everything that we've got out there, and you can download today. From now to back to school, so in other words, when most people are coming back after their summer break, and of course we're really thinking about early August, because we've got customers all over the world, and some come back early August, some come back before that, some come back sort of September. So what we're going to do is show you all the things we're going to have ready when people are starting to come back from their summer break. We've got some really good changes to messages. It'll be a lot easier to share messages. We've got a really powerful search. One of the requests we've had is a search built into the app, and we've now put that in, which is important if you're dealing with multiple classes and courses and so on, and lots of different emails from lots of different sources. So the search is there, and also you can pick out to reply just to the sender. So if people are sending group messages out, you can choose just to reply to the sender and not broadcast that out, and that's all built into the app. We've got lots of changes coming for messages. Here you can see a tablet view. We wanted to show you the tablet view, and for messages especially, this works fantastically well. So we're using the tablet screen real estate. We're trying to make it as simple and as useful as possible. So things like messages, especially on the tablet, it is so easy to use, and it's so easy to get that communication flowing across users and so on. We've had a lot of questions about files and working with different productivity tools. So we're making some big steps between now and back to school to make it a lot easier to share content from your favorite apps. A couple of people have suggested ones which we've either come across but didn't know were widely used. All of those suggestions we'll take back, and we'll make sure that we've got good integration with them. But most of the apps that integrate with the operating system, with iOS or Android, most of those will be able to be uploaded through the app. So we're trying really to make sure that if you've got a favorite productivity tool, you can easily get that content straight into itslearning. And things like the bulletins and so on, we want to improve. We know a lot of people are almost using the bulletins in a sort of a Facebook notification type way. So I've seen something, this is something that I'm working on. A teacher says, oh, I've just seen this really good article, and they want to post it straight into the bulletins. We're now making sure that we've got the good images and embedded content and so on. And that again is just trying to make the app a bit more immediate and so on. After back to school, because we're going to continue to update and make the app as good as possible, there's lots of changes coming. Things like being able to see more information on students, which is important for teachers, so they can see the student report cards and things like that, and also being able to see the files that they're working on. We know a lot more people are using their tablet to create files and so on, and then upload them to itslearning, and we're trying to really make sure that that's in a good place. And seeing things like the students' aggregated assessment reports, so teachers can see what's going on from the app across all of their kids in the course. You can see it now. You can go into the app, and then we'll log you on transparently to itslearning, and you can use the web view within the app. But we also want to bring that down into the app, so it's sort of really well formatted and using the screen real estate as best as we can. You'll be able to access things like events and create tasks and so on, and add resources in a much easier way, and do that straight through the app with just a couple of taps. And then also the new task system, and those of you that joined us for the last webinar will have seen the new quick task system, where I can create a task, get a collaboration going in a tool like Google or Office, something like that. You'll be able to create those straight from the app with, again, just a couple of taps. So we're really trying to make sure that all of the common things that people want to do on the app are working and are there, not just for back to school, but also moving forward through the rest of the year as well. We had a couple of questions about tests and what's going to happen with the test tool. Later this year, we'll be releasing our new test tool, which is a quantum leap from where we are at the moment. We've had a lot of feedback on the test tool. We know it's used a lot. And the new test tool is fantastic. It works really, really well on tablet in terms of drag and drop and so on. All of that is sort of natively built in, and it really is a powerful way of working. So lots of changes are there now. Please download the latest app. It is really, really good. Lots of changes coming for back to school. And then we're going to continue to invest heavily in our app. We're now spending about 25–30% of our development time just making the app as good as it can, because we know so many kids are using the app to access its learning, and we want them to have a great experience. And so many people are using its learning on the move. We want them to have a great experience. So it's really important for us to keep that development going. Last thing I wanted to do, just before we try and answer a few more of your questions, was just give you a little sneak peek for something that we have in development now. It's an app that we are targeting at parents, and it's going to work in a slightly different way to the It's Learning app, because what we're trying to do is give a parent that might have kids across different schools and maybe even in different sort of local authorities or districts or communa, and providing they all use It's Learning, they'll be able to go to one app, to one place, to get up-to-date information on all of their kids. It's a really interesting way of working. It's a really powerful way of working, and one of the things that we're doing is making sure that all of your child's information is available in one app. And for instance, if you're a foster parent, or you've got looked after kids and you've got multiple children, you'll be able to view all of their information either individually, so I can see, for instance, what my son and my daughter is doing this week, or I can get a view of everything that's going on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So what we're trying to have ready for back to school is a parent app that's giving the week view of everything that's going on in It's Learning, and have the ability to have all of my kids in one app. I don't need to go to different apps. I don't need to keep logging in. I just go in. I set up each child in a really simple way. So we'll have the same easy-to-use log-on system that you saw before, and then I can get a week view of everything that's going on in the app for all of those kids. And this is something we want to have ready for back to school. And then from back to school, to sort of later end of this year, we're then going to look at things like, whether schools want to, and of course this will be opt-in. We will not in any way be trying to, provide parent to school messaging through the app unless the schools are happy and want that. But it'll be something that we do offer, because it's one of the requests we've had. I'd really like my parents to be able to drop notes and things like that into schools through the app, but we're going to make it optional. So communas and districts and local authorities will have complete control over whether that's turned on or not. And then we want to give parents information on things like grades, and also have an announcement system. So if there's a snow day, then you can use the app really simply to push an information out to all of the parents saying, look, there's a snow day. We know a lot of people are using third-party tools for doing that. We want them, to be able to do all of this through the It's Learning app. So a parent can come in, see their kids' grades, see the calendar. If they want to, and if it's allowed, they can send messages to and from school, and they can see announcements all through the app. So we want it really to be a one-stop shop that parents really get a lot from, and schools have the confidence to know that it's the correct information and it's up to date. So if I look at it in It's Learning, we know that the parents are seeing exactly the same information. And of course, we'll make some of these things optional, because we know there's, especially with things like communication messages, we have to be sure that the school is happy and they really want this in place. But lots of features like seeing what the kids do in their grades and so on will be, standard, really easy to set up and really easy to use. So we really want that app to be something that parents get a lot of enjoyment from, and also a lot of really important information. And we want it just to improve, the flow of information from the school to the parent, and vice versa. So lots going on in the app. Those of you that were in the last presentation, we're doing one of these presentations about once a month, because there's so much we want to sort of show you guys that we're having ready for back to school. There's so many great changes coming in It's Learning. It's not just the app. We've got our changes to cloud, so you'll be able to work in Office and work in Google really transparently in set of collaborations. We've got our new onboarding system, and we're going to be introducing everybody to Owly the Owl, and he's going to guide teachers through how to get the best out of It's Learning, how to set up courses, how to use the library, and really provide a way for people to get a really good flavour of what It's Learning can do to benefit the teaching and learning process. And we're also making sure that there's more sharing going on and everything's happening in a great way. And all of these systems will then flow down through the app as well. So it's not just the app that's being improved for back to school in a really fundamental way. There's lots going on in It's Learning to make it the best product that we possibly can. For those of you that are interested, for those who really want to know, what's coming next and so on, we have a roadmap. We update that regularly. We try and make sure that everybody can see what's coming and so on. And we're also working directly with all of our sort of customers now, with all of the different communer and district and local authorities, and we're making sure that they have really good oversight of what's coming, and they can communicate that down to all of the schools and the teachers, so everybody understands that there's loads of great changes coming and the benefits they're going to have, and we're hoping that the onboarding is really going to make things